the Gen Z hater problem.
Gen Z as a whole generation is bad at a lot of things. Bad at not getting addicted to vaping and making up new methods to get high. Bad at focusing for longer than 5 minutes without having to scroll on TikTok for an hour. Bad at not ordering DoorDash 4 to 5 times a week. But what Gen Z is best at, its magnus opus, is hating. There is no generation that is as hateful or vile as much as Gen Z is. There's generations that grew up and fought in wars, and I swear they're still not as hateful as us. If the people that fought in wars had to sit at a middle school or high school lunch table in 2016 and get roasted, they'd leave with more PTSD than on the war field. Nowadays,
hard disagree. I know he's making a joke here. I feel like people were way more mean then. Now, people are generic assholes. Then, half of the mother you'd meet in the 1940s were cripplingly racist. Cripplingly racist, right? Like, it was, like, I think that's the difference, is today, people are just mean. Then, it was, like, genuine, like, hatred.
Some type of hating. Think of some of the biggest things last year. Drake versus Kendrick, making fun of Ice Spice, happy for the elimination of the healthcare CEO. Alright, that one's a little more valid, but you get my point. We've kind of thrived on hate like how the ancient Romans had Colosseum fights, and the crowd would cheer when it was a person versus a lion and see if they would win over bloodshed. I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, but gladiator fights are also like so misrepresented for what they actually are. Like, a lot of the time, gladiator fights were more like WWE than actual death fights. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't as much, we're just going to throw you into the ring like it's it was more entertainment. And it was sports. It was very sport-oriented, where they had different teams. And it was just colors. So it was like the greens or the blues. And you would rep a team as a family. And people used to get in fist fights in the Roman times over... Like, even, like, when you see a clip on Twitter in 9 hours of somebody in Philly fighting a Chiefs fan, flash that back 2,000 years, and there were Romans doing the exact same fucking thing.
Put a picture of his hair and you would all guess it. XXXTentacion. The speed X took over the rap game was something I think we haven't seen since he came out. This man was in jail when Look At Me came out and was going viral. He went in jail as a pretty unknown guy, then overnight became a celebrity. It was like one day on the internet you started to see these variations of profile pictures of X, and I can't lie.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm not insinuating the answer. I just genuinely want to know y'all's opinion. If X didn't die, do you think he would be as famous as he is now? Because rap, specifically with rappers, death makes people famous a lot of the time. Like, Biggie and Tupac skyrocketed after they died, more than they were then. And they were still, you know, popular. But when you die as a musician, your music immediately gains even more value because that's all you're making.
Grass be out on his fans, even just from my account. I used to be staying updated on everything he had going on, and he was always getting in some type of drama. So you could always check his Instagram story and there being a chance he's dissing one of your favorite rappers. And even if you didn't listen to him or didn't care about him, you had no choice but to see him because the social media pages were posting him all the time. I remember so many were trying to sound like X and even copy the cadence he talks in.
Oh my god, this guy. This guy still does it. Yo, actually making your entire personality and physical appearance to try and be somebody else is fucking crazy. Like, people that do that with Michael Jackson, you see that way more often. There's fucking hundreds of people that make their entire personality acting and looking like Michael Jackson. Whereas this is just like, why?
He was relatable to a lot of the younger generation because he would talk about his depression and what he's going through, and also give motivational talks all the time.
I think that's similar with, like, Mac Miller.
I'm telling people to chase their dreams. The last rapper to do something like that for a generation was Ye, which is why when he passed away, it was such a big deal to people. And for a long time, people have talked about his impact online and how big he could have potentially been. But now, apparently on TikTok, people have been hating on him. Like, this isn't some small trend or something. It's a huge big trend on there. We all know, since X was always talking about his depression and his thoughts all the time, they would always use his songs and him speaking in sad edits and emo
and the Bart Simpson crying on a roof
edits. We can never forget that Bart Simpson profile picture. I'm glad to say I was not one of those dudes rocking that. A lot of people would hear what he said and act fake depressed online.
My life sucks, man. If people only knew the pain and anguish I went through to be here, they'd respect me more.
Jimmy, your parents live in the richest part of Beverly Hills in a 5.
Okay, wait. I do have to clarify that just because you come from a wealthy income family or something does not mean you can't be depressed. But there are kids online that will, like, fake it for attention. And even in my stream, they'll act depressed and be like, I'm going to kill myself if you don't reply. You know how many fucking emails and chatters that I've had that are like, I'm going to kill myself if you don't reply? Those people are losers, okay? And they're faking having a genuine problem for attention. Like, the same people that are like, I'm going to kill myself if you leave me. Like, those manipulative ass, like, fucking toxic relationship people. Like, those motherfuckers suck, right? They're annoying as shit. Those are the people that I'm talking about, where it's like they're saying they're fake acting depressed when they have literally everything that they could ever want. No pressure, no sadness. They have a massive group of friends. Everything in the world is going in their fucking favor, and they're just acting depressed because they want people to fucking pan towards them. Those people are annoying.
$1 Million House. Them Bart Simpson edit videos used to go crazy back in the day on YouTube, though. And was X sometimes exaggerated with getting his point across? Yes. So people have been bringing up these clips recently, posting him acting like that back in the day and kind of clowning him.
Do you have any relationship with your father?
What's that? What's a father?
Okay, bro. The way they fucking circle the Bart Simpson with bad vibes over his face.
From mental illness, or do you suffer from depression?
Do I think I suffer from mental illness? I think I'm different. And that's the last thing I'll say on the video. You can keep that in there, though. So I say Onfroy was weak. X is the complete opposite. X desires control. Controversy.
Like, bro, it's one thing posting him and saying this is kinda cringe looking back on it. To be honest, a lot of that stuff just didn't age well from that era. You could look back on any era and
yeah, dude, the fucking, like, when was that? Like 2016? Like, that time was just
always
like,
gonna be some
it wasn't cringy then.
or be talking about his music wasn't good. Like, where did this hate come from? That's brand new to me. Because for the longest, everyone was saying how talented X was and how far he could have made it. But now, because of a couple of viral TikToks, he's all of a sudden the most corny person and was never good. This guy probably explains it best from what I've seen happen on.
Bro, you could look at any fucking rapper and go back. Yo, you remember Post Malone used to make videos with Sky Does Minecraft? Like, they used to be, like, skit guys. That's, like, something not, or Joji used to be Filthy Frank. Like, there's, any musician that you bring up, there's, like, something that was like, oh, 6 years ago, that's so cringy.
Let's not play like X wasn't cool as shit. Y'all love to fake support someone, and the second, like, some bad shit come out, you're always like, damn, like, I knew from the beginning, like, I was one of the—
Oh! Yeah, no, that's so facts. No, that's so facts. That's so facts. Yo, literally will be a die-hard fan of someone, and the second, like, that person's cringy or some shit happens, they're like, bro, I knew from the start this shit was sketch. I've been a D1 hater since number one. Now I just have a reason to hate. I'm like, bro, you're a pussy. Like, you're actually an asshole. And it's like, it's those people literally just taking a situation and going, hey, how can I draw attention from this to myself? How can I make this thing and situation that has nothing to do with me be about me? Oh, I know. Let me say that I predicted this.
Them ones who was like, I knew from the beginning. I was a day one hater, because that's not even a flex, dude. Hating on X before that clip came out. You just hopping on the wave. Y'all love to bring a nigga down, bro. Y'all love to see someone who's been getting constant love, and the second some controversy come out, y'all trying to act like he was bad the whole time, when in reality, you was just waiting for a moment to finally bring his name down. Why is everyone saying they knew he was corny when he had so much love and not a hater was in sight? Like, somebody's lying.
And is it like, dude, are those clips corny? Yeah, right? But you can't hate his character for that. Like, he's still trying to express himself. It's just like, you know, dude, fucking 9 years down the line, looking back at it, it's like, ooh, you know.
As soon as a couple people turn on someone, everybody's gonna act like they always thought that person was corny and never good. At the end of the day, back then, everyone was a little more cornier, especially if you're younger still. But like, do you know what we used to—
Mr. Beast too? Yeah, well, the shit with Mr. Beast, like, a lot of shit went down, but you already know a lot of the people that, like, were like, I already knew this motherfucker. I fucking hated Mr. Beast from the start. They see that motherfucker in a Walmart next day. Could I hold a band? Could I hold a band, Mr. Jimmy, please? Like, they're gonna, like, I mean, well, anybody's really probably gonna ask him for money if we're being real. He's Mr. Beast, right? Hey, there's an off chance that he goes, oh, well, actually, we're filming a video. Here's a case of $10,000. Have a nice day. And then you just fucking go, oh, and you just wander off. But, you know.
Where this was the average fit back in 2017.
Oh, Phase Adapt. Phase Adapt, bro. My goat. I used to watch him every day. Every day. Him and Phase Rain. Him, Phase Rain, Phase Jev were my fucking three musketeers, dude. In the 2010s. He was my goat. Yeah, Phase Adapt. Phase Adapt was my guy. I used to watch him when I was really into COD.
It's crazy how in our generation, a couple of TikToks of someone being cringe go viral, and people shift from loving the person to hating them. There was a time when you talked any on X for years, people would come for you. I think what a lot of this hate is really coming down to is either those kids who used to listen to him grew up and are cringing looking back on it, and new kids are coming in who never listened to X and are just on him. Back in the day, would watch this and think it's the toughest thing of all time. I feel like with our generation, making fun of dead people who never did anything is a common thing. Like, I remember when the George Floyd protests were going on and people were making memes of George Floyd. It wouldn't be funny 99% of the time too. It was just cringe. Another thing that showed me how hateful our generation is was when gender arguments and people started to dedicate podcasts to hating another gender. I think the sole reason of why
that one guy with a fucking what is it, like, what's that haircut called, a boozy fade? Who's that guy? He owns a podcast. Is it Fresh and Fit? Yeah, Fresh and Fit. And the whole podcast is just like shitting on women. Like, the entire podcast is like, let's get like one guy and 9 women on and just try to make them feel as stupid as possible.
Birth rate is declining worldwide is because the people that run these stupid ass podcasts. In the past, you went out to find someone and had your criterias, then boom, marriage. But nowadays, people get swayed for a potential option because they had Fresh and Fit tell them otherwise.
Yeah, right there. Oh my God, here it is.
This is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram. That's cheating.
Gen Z.
What? Hey, I'm gonna have a serious opinion here. If you have a girlfriend, I think she is not allowed to even see another man, ever. I think that if another man glances at her, she basically just cheated, dude. You don't know what she's thinking in her head right now. She could be undressing that man in her head. You don't know what's happening. That'd be cheating, dude. If she's thinking about it. Hey, if me and my girl are watching a movie and there's a sex scene, I have to literally tape over the guy in the sex scene. Like, you can't. If she sees any of that, I'm breaking up with her. I mean,
men are boring. Men are boring. You're lazy. You're boring. You don't have hobbies. You're unambitious. You don't know how to talk to women. You're not respectful.
I think we're at the point where these type of dumbass people aren't getting as much attention anymore. Both men and women are.
It was like, what year was that? 2022 was the year for like Andrew Tate and Sneeko and like, well, I mean, they're still popular, but it was like their spike year.
Tired of this shit. I notice no matter how much they fearmonger these things, saying something like all these girls out here are gold diggers and will pretend to love you, or saying all these dudes are manipulating you and are always ready to cheat, I almost never see these type of situations happen in real life. And if I do, it's like 1 or 2 cases I've seen in my whole lifetime. You gotta realize the reason why these people are saying these situations are so common is because they hang out in those type of environments. The average person is not.
And they make money off of it. And they make money. No one fucking thinks about that. Hey, maybe this person isn't actually serious when they're like talking shit about all women or all men. They're just clout farming for money.
Not running into this a lot of times. And it's showing more that the person that runs into this stuff all the time just has choices at picking. But because of social media and because their voices are so amplified, it's why it's a common thing for men and women of our generation to run around with these ideas. Another thing that showed me how hateful we are is politics. There was no other generation where someone's political view pissed you off so much that you couldn't be friends with that person anymore. I'm talking about the non-extreme cases, of course. You know, if someone's extremely insane on either side, that's valid to cut them off. Like, sometimes people just can't be helped. But people will cut off their family over who they voted for. Both sides.
One. Blocked.
I blocked my sister too. She the only one that smoked and she couldn't take her ass down there and vote. So now we're cutting off people because...
Yeah, I don't know. The shit... Okay, not voting at all is annoying as fuck. If you're not voting at all because you genuinely don't know who to vote for and you're like, I don't want to cast my vote, okay, whatever. But if you're like, I'm supporting this person, you're actively talking about it, and then you don't go vote, like, you are stupid. Outside of that, yeah, you know, blocking your entire family because of that is, you know, extreme. But I will say this election, I think, is also a time where both candidates and both parties represent more divisive things than 40 years ago. If you look at political people and how voting was, you know, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, people used to flip-flop a lot. And there was a lot more middle ground people that would vote Republican and Democrat depending on the election, not just because of their personality, but also because the candidates were not as extremist on either side. It was more respectful. They were able to fucking interact with each other. I hope we go back to that when we get the loony bin 85-year-olds out of fucking running stance anymore, right? When Trump's done, I hope that the next election is like a genuine election where we have like people that are actually, you know, discussing and not just mad at each other, but we'll see.
Only 64% of the US population that could vote voted in the last election. It's not like the whole country comes out every time. And our generation got the worst of it. We have some of the most extremely odd and insane politicians of all time. One of our presidents was sleeping through half the job while the other could wake up one day randomly and decide to...
I think that the scale of tech, it's going to be a Joe Bart prediction. The scale of technology is still rampant, but older people that are right now 50 and 60 understand the average person in their 20s better than any 80-year-old will, even when they're 80. So my hope is in 20, 30 years, when all of the people that were born in the 30s and 40s pre-technology are dead, that the people that take their place that are still going to be running for office, because politics is heavily run by old fucking farts, I think those people will likely be better at understanding the average person, because they will have come from a time that is still, you know, the 70s, but people born in the 70s can understand somebody born in 2010 better than somebody that is born in the fucking 1940s when World War II was going on.
By getting celebrities to twerk on stage. If you told an American this is how politics would be in 1999, they'd call you a crazy person. And this all literally just started in 2016. Like, Gen Z ain't have a single chance for peace. Millennials had George Bush and Obama way more peaceful. Even though they protested George Bush, their protests are...
Yeah, it wasn't as, like, we're gonna fucking light a city on fire on either way. We're gonna rush the Capitol. We're gonna fucking do this. It was like, hey, I don't like the other guy, but I'll get over it.
And Obama way more peaceful. Even though they protested George Bush, their protests are nothing close to the protest Trump.
But I also think that's the people that were it. Like George Bush and Obama are way more likable than Trump and Biden.
Beginning. They be filling up whole cities with his protests. And on the other side, of course, you got the Trump rallies where you'll see riding you've never seen in your life.
Nah, that's crazy. Nah. Oh my God. Wait, old people were taping their fucking ears like they were the ones that got shot?
And on the other side, of course, you got the
Nah.
Trump rallies where you'll
I did not know that.
see riding you've never seen in your life. The social media
Nah, that's like turbo glaze.
in your life. The social media algorithm kind of makes it so you have to pick one side and one side only, which has affected Gen Z the most. It's proven we have the biggest political gap and worst arguing. Because as soon as you start to see a couple of posts relating to that side, your whole feed is eventually going to be full of it. And it's not people's fault. Social media has manufactured it to be like that. There's a lot of victims out there who unintentionally has had this happen to them and has shaped who they are politically. I try my best to
Well, there's also more and more people in the United States, and I think that the smaller percentage of idiots get a bigger voice now because there's more of them and social media exists. There were stupid fucking dumbasses always, and there will always be people that are borderline conspiracy theorists and think that, you know, Biden had a body double clone, right? I remember I had one of my philosophy major friends, his mom, he would talk about this in class, thought that Joe Biden was dead and an AI computer clone took his place and ran office. And that is, like, those people existed 40 years ago. But you would never hear about them because it would have been a word of mouth thing. But now they go on TikTok and go, the tap water's turning the frogs gay. And you get to see it firsthand, right? The dumbass that, you know, lives in the middle of nowhere and is just fucking yapping his ear off, yapping your ear off about fucking tap water, right? And how it's turning people liberal, or conversely, the exact opposite. Right. Like, I don't know. Government conspiracy theory shit. It's like some of it isn't that insane, but a lot of it is delving into, like, we think they're aliens. I'm not dedicated to a side, but my values in every election since I've had, like, people always ask me, oh, like, what are you? I always say I'm a liberal, right? I would say I'm more of a social democrat than anything. But is there a world where there's a Republican candidate that doesn't have extremist views and is just more kind of focused on economics shit that's Republican but has more liberal values socially and isn't too extreme on, like, hey, we're going to give tax breaks to billionaires? Like, there's a scenario where, yeah, they run as a Republican, they're more independent, and I would be able to vote for them. But there has not been a candidate on that side since I've been alive where I would go, yeah, I would vote for them, right? But if you look back historically, there are Republican candidates that weren't that extreme, right? Grant for this up. I think there are Republicans on the other side that would say the same thing about Democrats, though. And there'd be like, yeah, I would vote for a Democrat in a specific situation.
Politics was one of those things because as a kid, your parents should not be telling you about the political and economic state of the world, bro. You should be worrying about playing Roblox and Fortnite and getting brain.
Yeah, how old should you be when you start learning about politics? I'd say like 13. Like, I would say you should have some general knowledge when you're like 12. Like, you should understand politics in the sense of, like, basic things, and then you should get more and more knowledge. I think when you're in high school, you should know what you're talking about, not to the sense of, like, oh, you're a working class 35-year-old American, but you should not be like, I don't understand what a liberal is.
Brain rot from TikTok. Remember too, Gen Z was like the whole experiment in the social media political world. So Gen Alpha next is going to be more divided than us, then Gen Beta is going to be more divided than after point of implosion. Anyways, that's all I've got for real. If you're a hater, stay a hater and make sure to comment something hateful. Let's keep this train moving. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always,
That was a good video. I love Tommy.